Welcome to the American Council of the Blind of Virginia's Voices of Vision, a live Zoom broadcast where we conduct 30-minute interviews with inspiring guests making an impact in the blind and low vision community. ACBVA is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We appreciate your support. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the American Council of the Blind of Virginia's Voices of Vision show. And we are here today to talk all about love. Yes, love. Love is in the air and love is on the air today. We are so excited to have our guest, Bernie, and his wife, Pam, talk all about their love story, dating, marriage, and just challenges that they face and overcome, and giving us words of encouragement that each of us can find love just as they have. So we're going to start by introducing my lovely co-host, Maria Evangelista.
Hello, I am so excited about our topic today and welcome to our guest and of course to you, Deborah. You really suit our month of love because you're full of it. Hi, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. And of course, we have Lisa Calhoun with us today. She is a member of our board and she is co chair of our fundraising committee. And she's going to share her own special love story today as well.
Woohoo!
Hi, everyone.
Yes, yes. Well, no delay. We are going to begin by welcoming Bernie. Where were we and his wife, Pam Lindenbeck? Welcome, you guys.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having us.
Oh, you, of course. So we are all excited to hear about your love story together, but we're going to start just learning something about each of you individually first. So, Bernie, we're going to start out with you. And if you can just give us a brief overview of who you are and your background and how you became involved with ACBVA, and then you introduce your lovely wife.
Okay, well, my name is Bernie. I'm originally from Pittsburgh. I'm a hardcore Steeler fan and Penguin fan, and I attended Duquesne University. I grew up as I've been legally blind since birth. Blindness runs in the men of my family. We have a disease called aniridia, and it affects the men in my family. So my dad's blind, my little brother's blind, and when we're younger, we are, right on the border of being legally blind. But as we get older, it gets worse, and along with that goes glaucoma and cataracts. So, right now I'm almost totally blind. I just have a little light perception. So, when I was younger, I was a high partial, and I progressed to in my 30s, pretty much losing most of my vision. When I was younger, I never learned Braille or cane travel or anything. In middle school, they gave me binocular lenses, and I used those all the way through college. And they told me in Pittsburgh that I could get a driver's license in Virginia. So after college, I moved to Virginia to get a driver's license. And I got a driver's license in Virginia, and I got a job in Virginia with a bank. And I proceeded to drive in Virginia, and I met Charlie Hodge, if people remember him, and then another someone else, and I Charlie talked me into joining the ACB as a lifetime member. So that's how I got introduced to the ACB.
Great.
Yeah, so I used to, and then I met some other people in the NFB, and I used to drive to both the ACB and the NFB meetings, and that didn't go over too well. And then I actually became a Randolph Shepherd vendor in Virginia, and I used to drive to work, and that didn't go over too well either. Anyway, I lived in Northern Virginia, and I was in several car accidents that were very
Oh, that's sad.
yeah, they were very severe, and they were
Oh,
my fault. My insurance rates went through the roof, and I decided it wasn't too good of an idea for me to drive.
mhm.
And so I stopped driving. I still kept my license, but I stopped driving until years later when the DC sniper was out, and my ex-wife made me take the car to get gas. And that was the last time I drove, and I told my eye doctor about it, and he was surprised I had a driver's license, and then he confiscated it, and
Huh.
that's basically my driving story. Uh,
Uh-huh. And you have a
so
wonderful career, both educationally and your professional career.
yeah, so just to sum it up, I then proceeded to get a MED in special education from the University of Mary Washington in Fredericksburg, and I also got an MBA in 2018. I've worked the last 14 years for the Defense Logistics Agency. That's where I currently work.
Wow.
And yeah, I enjoy advocacy. I enjoy, so blindness means a lot to me, and advocating for the rights of the blind.
Mm-hmm.
And so I enjoy. Well, I try my best to do what I can to advocate for the rights of the blind. So that's why I get involved with different advocacy events. So I'll let my wife introduce herself.
Good
Okay,
morning.
great. Thank you so
Welcome.
much. That was
Well,
very.
I started out life in Michigan, Grand Rapids, Michigan. And when I got into my goodness 50s, it dawned on me I did not have to stay there any longer and deal with the severe winters. I'm the youngest of 8 children. Both my parents were already gone. All of my siblings had moved on, and I decided it was time for me to do the same. So I had a sister already here in Richmond, Virginia. So I thought I'd start out here and see what I thought. So I had 2 careers back in Michigan. My first was in banking. Um, I was a bank manager, and I thought I wanted to switch careers to be a broker, but just felt directed to help my church open a child development center. So I did that. And then I stayed in the youth development field for almost 20 years until I decided to leave Michigan and come to Virginia. And I decided I wanted to have a third career when I got here. And I had one thing in mind, didn't quite pan out exactly as I planned, but it finally came to fruition. It's a real estate career, but just in a little different path
Mhm.
with Bernie. And but I currently though am fulfilling what I had always said I wanted to do when I retired. I wanted to have my own business, doing what I was passionate about,
Mhm.
being able to work the time that I wanted to work, so I could just
Yeah.
enjoy life and the things that I enjoy doing. So I have a business as a companion and helper for seniors and
Oh, great.
those in need.
So I
So,
assume, I'm sorry, I
mhm,
assume you are not legally blind.
correct.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm. That's
In fact,
wonderful.
she can see like an eagle.
Oh, that's great. Now,
Yeah.
would you
Well, you,
be kind enough to Deborah? Is it okay if I take it
of
away?
course, of course.
Okay, would you be kind enough to share your wonderful love story that we are all excited to hear about?
Sure. So I'll start it out. So, in addition to my blindness, the other thing that I've struggled with my whole life is being overweight and, to be honest, morbidly obese. And
Mm-hmm.
I so basically, I've struggled with compulsive overeating, and I've had several. I've actually had 3 bariatric surgeries, and when I went through my divorce from my first wife, I moved here close to my job in Richmond. I work for a Department of Defense, and I had an apartment here in North Chesterfield, and I was just really desperate. And I Googled compulsive overeating and so forth, and it came up with this 12-step program. And wow, it was right up the street from my apartment. And So I went to that 12-step meeting, and I was the only guy. Well, there's me and this other guy. And there's a lot of stories I can tell you about that. But long story short, I ended up joining that 12-step program. And, one of the things you're supposed to do in this 12-step program is, take other people's phone numbers and call those people. You're supposed to make 3 phone calls a day. And one of the things you're supposed to do is call people when you have the feeling of overeating or binging. So Pam was in that group, and so I would, frequently call her, and um, I had a guide dog at that point, Herman, and I would often sit in the front of the room, and Pam would often come up and give her qualification. And qualification is like a testimony, and I had enough vision left, and I always tell people, even though I was almost totally blind, I could still see women and money. I could see, I could still see how beautiful Pam was, and she had this aura around her,
You just had your eyes set on her.
Yes, and I was like, oh my God, she's beautiful, and then she's just, just such a beautiful voice and angelic, and I was like, oh my God, why can't I, I'd like to really meet her, and I'd like to have a woman like that, and um, she just, started melting my heart, and I had been through so much, and the previous wife had just, dragged me through the mud, and yada yada yada, and divorces are tough,
So you guys started interacting with each other
So
by
yeah, so
phone.
yeah, so basically, I'd call her when
You
when
made it up so you can call her.
I call her, yeah. Yeah, so long story short, well, one time, basically, we met through the 12-step program. We were friends. Real quick, she invited me to lunch, and basically, she had made a lunch. She invited me to lunch, and on the way into lunch that she had made, she basically said, "Oh, I want to show you this garden," and she said, "There's tomatoes and cucumbers growing," and she took my hand and she let me feel the cucumbers and the tomatoes and the radishes growing, and my heart just melted, and I'm like, I
Oh,
think I'm gonna marry this woman.
Oh, wow.
that's
All
Mm.
right, now we have to hear Pam's
sad.
story about
Yes.
what she thought of you
Uh,
when she first.
well, in the program, we would have the calls and we'd talk. And I just thought he was a really nice guy. And he and Herman would sit at the front of the room, and I would sit kind of in the back. And And I was married before too, and in fact, I just divorced when I moved here to Virginia. That was kind of the final catalyst to get me going, and so I'd sit in the back, and I knew I wanted to get married again, but I just wanted, I had my idea of exactly who and what I wanted, and so I would sit there, and I realized how a lot of times my eyes would kind of go over, and I look at Bernie from the back, and yeah, he's a nice guy, and didn't really think much of it. But it happened a lot of times, and so he would call me on the phone. I'm like, ooh, and I just really enjoy because he's a real conversationalist and interesting, and very intellectual, and we'd start getting into a good conversation. I'm like, oh, I like this guy, I think. And then he abruptly, okay, gotta go. And I just feel like dropped. I'm like, okay, no, I guess he doesn't like me. Just when I was thinking, then
That's because I
no.
was nervous and I didn't want her to think I liked her.
You wanted to
Ah,
put up a show, a facade.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it's so nice to know that you both progressed from those conversations to dating and, of course, eventually marrying. And
Well,
Yeah.
there's a lot in between there, but
I'm sure, I'm sure. So, and that's a part of what we can talk about next. Because my question to you both is to kind of expand upon your dating and relationship and marriage experiences together, especially as it relates to one member of the couple having challenges with low vision. And as a couple, is there anything that you'd like to share with us as your dating and marriage has progressed?
Yeah. So obviously, I'm blind, and I'm in this 12-step food program, which, by the way, is very rigorous and a lot of guardrails, and you have to prepare your own food. You have to weigh and measure everything, and Pam helped me lose a lot of weight in that program. Um, so one day I said to her, I really, and this was kind of a way for me to get to know her better too. I will admit I had ulterior motives. I said, and I knew she was in the real estate business, so I kind of put everything together. I said, I could really use your help. I have this, and I kind of use my disability to my advantage. I said, I could really use your help. I said, I work for the government. I'm really I'm busy all the time. I said, could I pay you to come to my apartment and help me prepare food, maybe once or twice a week? And if you could help me do that, I could really, really excel on this food program. So we came up with a mutually agreeable price that I would pay her per hour.
Mhm.
So we agreed upon that. She started coming over my apartment, and we worked together for several weeks, and that way, we just talked and we got to know each other really well. Well,
Mhm.
one day, she out of the blue, she said, I think I'm going to start internet dating. And my heart just fell out of my chest. I'm
Oh.
thinking, oh my God, what does she think I am? Chopped liver?
Ah.
And it was so bad, I actually had to make I had to make a call that night, emergency call to my psychologist, because I was going to a psychologist. And so I went to see him the next morning. I told him the whole story, and he said, well, why don't you just tell her, that you want to, date her? I said, oh, I can do that, because I'd been out of circulation for so long. I'd been married for 20 plus years. And I'm like, I can do that? And he's like, yeah. I said, oh, okay, I'll do that. So the next time she came over, I said, after we were done preparing food, I said, I want to take you out to the picnic shelter. I said, maybe, I'm going to show it to you. Maybe we can have our recovery group party out here, and I want to show it to you. And it was dark out, and it was moonlit, and I kind of stumbled and was stuttering, and was I said, blah blah blah, and I said, I'd like to start dating you, because I blah blah blah, and Pam can tell you the rest.
Well, let's see. Well, let me back up a minute because when he asked me about working part time with him to help him with food prep, I said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. I love to cook, and that'll supplement my startup real estate business." And so, in preparation for the first day, I'm talking on the phone. Okay, I will need to go get some groceries, and this is what we'll do the first day. And he said, "Oh, okay." And then I'll have the chicken in the crock pot, and I'll put some greens in the pot, and I'll do this. And I'm kind of confused. I'm like, wait, aren't I supposed to come and help you cook? And he's like, oops, cat's out of the bag. But so that was kind of a foreshadowing, but I didn't take it very far.
Mhm.
Um, and so one day I was with my sister at her house, because when I first moved here, I stayed with her, and she was worked at home, and she heard me on the phone with Bernie one day. I had the speaker on and we were talking. And so later I talked with my sister. We were just, chit chatting, and somehow the food program came up and my talking with Bernie. And she said, yeah, he's got a nice voice. I said, how do you know? And she said, well, I heard you guys talking one time, and it seems like you guys, really are comfortable with each other. I said, yeah, he's a really nice guy. I enjoy talking with him. And she asked me some more questions. And then she had this confused look on her face. She said, Pammy, I think that guy likes you. I said, incredulously, what makes you say that? She says, well, he's doing a lot of different things for you. If a guy isn't interested, he is not going to be making himself available and going through things and preparing stuff and connecting you with people for your business. And I'm like, oh,
Pam,
okay.
on that light, can you give us in one sentence what your tip would be in dating a blind person? Like, how would it be successful in one sentence? And then could Bernie also give one sentence
Oh boy,
regarding?
let me see. Can I do that? I think it would be knowing your strengths and your weaknesses and seeing that in your mate who is visually impaired so that you two can work as a team to strengthen and undergird each other.
Oh, beautiful.
How about Bernie? Can you give us one tip in dating you as a low vision or blind person, legally blind person, and then having a partner that is not legally blind? Did you have any
Yeah,
difficulty?
I would say don't have any preconceived notions, and I would say don't necessarily go out and look for one. I would say go out and do something that you like, and then it's automatically going to come to you. So, for example, I like adaptive sports. I would say go out and do something that you love, and you're going to find the partner of your dreams. That's what I say.
Be yourself. That's what I'm going to say,
Be
right?
yourself. Yeah, be
Yes.
Right.
yourself.
Okay,
Yeah.
Deborah, take it away.
Well, that your story is just so wonderful and so encouraging to everyone, and just so beautiful how you came together, and and how even Bernie, how you kind of manipulated the situation.
Yeah.
And I just think you've already answered my last question, which would have been, how would you encourage other people who are seeking or looking for love, to not give up? Is there anything
No,
final
no,
word?
Deborah, you know what I'm going to say to that? I'm going to add, if I may add, you just act up like you need it. Okay? You need their help.
No, no, I would say, uh, you gotta pursue your interests, so like if it's adaptive sports, pursue that. If
Mhm.
you're a Christian, pursue your spiritual life.
Yes.
If you're if you got a profession, pursue that. And you're
Mhm.
going to meet the person that's going to fit into fit, you're going to find the mate
Yeah.
that fits into your puzzle, or
Yeah.
fits into your pair.
And we're happy
And
for you.
mhm.
Yes. And Pam, your
Yeah.
final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Bernie said exactly what I had in mind is contentment, pursue your life as you are and be content. And when you are blessed with the person for you, it'll just be the cherry on top.
Oh, how sweet. Well, that was the cherry on top of this interview. I just thank you both for sharing your story. It was wonderful, and I can't wait for our listeners and viewers to share the experience that we just had with you. And we're going to continue now with Love in the Air and On the Air with Lisa Calhoun. And Lisa's going to just give us a little brief talk about her own love story, and then share more how you can have a giving heart and donate, and have opportunities to donate to the American Council of the Blind of Virginia.
Yeah, Lisa, in a few words, give us,
Okay.
share your love,
Yeah.
please.
So I will just build off of what Bernie was saying. Just do what you love, and love will find you. So I'm a horse person. I'm big into animals. And so I had not been successful in dating hardly at all. And in the year 2000, I was on AOL back in those days. And I had a profile out there, and you said a little bit about yourself. And so, of course, horses was a big thing. Well, I got a message, an instant message from this guy that I was living in Colonial Heights and he lived in Norfolk. And I got this message. He's like, hey, you sound really interesting. I'd like, can we start talking? And we did. We started instant messaging and emailing, and that was like around early September. And we had our first phone conversation the day after Thanksgiving, and we met on New Year's Eve for the first time. And he is sighted, um, and he had been taking horseback riding lessons. And he said that he was looking for somebody that also liked horses. And the other thing is he is a historian, and I actually minored in history in college. So I can handle his tangents when he goes on and on and on about history. I'm actually paying attention. so,
Oh,
so that's our love story. We
that's
met online.
wonderful.
Yeah, we met online before it was cool to do so, we like to say.
Yeah. So I understand that we need donations. So can you talk
Yes.
about them, please? Thank
Yes.
you.
Okay, so there's many different ways now to help ACBVA. We have our Raise Right um, fundraiser that is going to be ongoing. That's You can get gift cards for, there's hundreds of stores and different things on there, and you just go to the Raise Right and you can put in ACB of VA on there and it should pop up. But if you have any questions, you can reach out to Teresa or myself, and we can help walk you through the process. And it's really easy. Gift cards. I've done it myself, even for Roblox for my kids. So then we have two brand new ones that just opened yesterday. And these are going to be benefiting our upcoming convention. We have Happy Valley Soup Company, and you can get freeze dried soup mixes, and they're $9.50 a piece. And ACBVA gets about 50% of whatever people purchase from them. So that will be running through the end of April. And they look really yummy, like broccoli cheese soup, a potato soup, lentil soup, kinds, chili, um, and I can't remember all of them, but there's quite a
Yeah.
few. And then we also, for Valentine's Day, and we'll have it running through, I think we're going to run it through Mother's Day, is C's Candies. And so it's like all kinds of good chocolates and stuff.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, if anybody has any questions, please reach out to Teresa or myself, or just send it email um, the to the ACBOVA, and yeah, so just to go to our website, and you can also just donate straight if you want to do that as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Well, that's the end of our show. We're so excited that love was filling the air today. And we thank our wonderful guests, Bernie and Pam, again. Continue in your journey of love together. And thank you so much for sharing. Thank you, Maria
Thank you.
Evangelista,
Thank you,
for
everyone.
yes,
Thanks.
being such a
Have a good
wonderful, lovely
Valentine's.
co-host. And we encourage you to continue to watch us on our YouTube channel. And our upcoming show in March is going to be with Angela Harris, and she is going to be talking all about the fashion modeling industry. So we're
For the
excited
legally
about
blind and the
that
blind.
upcoming show. So, as we always say at the end, use your voice to share your vision.
Vision.
Bye for now.
Bye for now. Share us.
This has been the American Council of the Blind of Virginia's Voices of Vision. We hope you enjoyed the show.